James Jordan alongside Michael Wallace for for yet another edition of the Wide World of Motorsports podcast, recording for the week of Sunday, June 5th, 2022. And I believe this is the 14th or 15th episode of season 5
we
of
should
the
look
WOMs.
into that.
I can sorry, it's 15th episode. I was
15.
close. 15th
That's
episode
good.
of the WOMs.
I think that's more than we did last year in total.
And yeah, probably. And we're coming at ya on all sorts of different ways. There's a few different ways. First off, we could be broadcasting to you on CKMS 102.7 Radio Waterloo, part of the Waterloo Region Podcast Hour, monthly. So we'll be on that. And then we're new. You like this one, Wallace? We're new up on the no CF. We're up on CFMH 107.3 local FM, broadcasting to the Bay of Fundy and the area of St. John. Be fantastic to reach out to some of our listeners out there. We'll let you know how to reach out to us in a second. And we're also on the Performance Motorsports Network. You could check out PMN on your smart device. Just pull up the App Store or whatever you got and just look up PMN. Download it. We're on there throughout the schedule on that platform as well. And if not listened to us on those, it's easy to catch us on our past and future episodes on there's lots of streaming platforms we're on. All the big ones: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we're on it. We're there. Yes, Anchor, who owns like most of those, so that's
oh really?
That's one way. Yeah, that's how it sets it up, at least for Spotify. So
Anchor owns Spotify.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good to be on those platforms. Love Spotify and love being out there, listening to people out there on the podcast world, all the podcast people. And we'll actually get to some of that too in a second as well. But also on our website, we have a World Wide Web URL.
Ugh.
This is Wallace's favorite. Yes, yeah, it has to be your favorite. This is your favorite part of the show, and it's your favorite website.
Well, I do like the website, but it is easy to use. Even I, a chimp, can use it.
Yes, actually, it is user friendly. We will admit that much. The URL, I mean, what you got to type in. Now listen, there's a way we can shorten this monstrosity of a URL that we talk about every week.
And how do we do that?
Well, you can email us at wideworldofmotorsports@gmail.com and just say, hey, we want to sponsor, advertise on your show, and get you set up. Also, you can reach out to us on our social media and let us know there at the WWOMS. For the shortening of our website, we'd love the Wide World of Motorsports podcast.wordpress.com to be shortened. With your contributions and support, we can keep the WOMs running and the lights on. So this is like PBS Chicago Windsor, or sorry, Detroit Windsor, PBS. With viewers like you, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I
So
remember those.
but yeah, so we got you there.
We give
for the
you
people
all my
in this area
series
of the world.
of the Civil War.
Oh, I always
on
loved the
VHS.
ones with the actual. They would actually show some pretty sweet concerts or parts of some pretty sweet concerts. So
I used to watch Montreal Jazz Festival on PBS
there's a lot of good stuff on PBS. Maybe you, if you
or
want to get us,
TVO.
tell PBS or TVO at them on social media and say we want the I'll go on PBS and TVO. Say we want the WOMs on PBS and TVO.
That would be amazing.
Just so that's go on our social
Flood
media, Facebook,
Flood it.
Instagram, Twitter, at the WWOMS, and then hashtag at PBS as well, and hashtag
Make them send a cease and
put on the
desist
WOMs.
letter.
Yeah, and
to us.
then that would be that would make us legit as a cease and desist.
And then we'd make T-shirts of a picture of the cease and desist letter.
I would rock that. Anyway, so yeah, you can check us out there, and on our YouTube, we got a lot of stuff. Our esports stuff. That's what I love iRacing. It saves me, and after a long hard day at work, you get to go home, just relax, play some iRacing, and we chill out with our pals from down south. Thomas Eggleston, David Guarino. We stream some stuff with the Wide World of Motorsports esports team, and we have guests as well coming in and out. So we're always looking for people to run with us. Love to have y'all running our iRacing stuff. So just check it all out there. Those are our deets. But yeah, real cool week for us, Wallace. We were it started off last week with stickers and scuffs. A fellow Canadian podcast bringing us on for a podcast crossover, and it was real cool to be on the show with Graydon and Cam. Thank you guys. We had a great, it was like there's other race fans too in where we live. It's like what? So I thought that was pretty cool to see and to chat with them. So check out their podcast. Should be up any day now. We'll share it through our social media. Check out Stickers and Scuffs on their social media, and we had a good, awesome talk, and people got to know. People got to hopefully know us. So
hopefully.
It
was fun.
A different angle from our podcast. So it was cool being asked questions. Especially, I've been in radio for years and years, and it's cool that to be a guest. I've been a guest only a couple times. It doesn't happen much, so it's cool when it happens. I've had so many guests, but it's cool to be the guest once in a while. So thank you to those guys for bringing us on. And hey, for us, it was cool. Us Weekend finally was able to, in our area, they're finally able to start off their weekend after like so long. So that was cool. And hey, for 1,000 days, 1,000 something days, that's crazy, and then but you also got to see some racing too this past weekend in person.
Yeah, I did. I took my my kids and my wife. We went to Full Throttle Motor Speedway, formerly Varney, and we got to watch some cool racing. It was fun. I enjoyed it. The track is really cool. It is quite unique. It is very small. I believe what we watched as late models were the top class there that night, and I believe that's probably as fast as they're going to get going there. I know actually they do, I think, still run modifieds there, but I'm not too sure. It was a lot of fun though. The kids had fun, and that's the main thing, because if we go there and they don't have fun, then they won't want to go back, and it's harder for me to get to the racetrack. If I can say to my wife, hey, I'm going to take the kids and we're going to go to the races and we'll give you a break, that's easier, and knowing that they enjoy it is a lot more fun. So, shout out to them. It was really cool. They had really good merchandise there. Actually, you and I talk about it a little bit sometimes about how vendors at certain racetracks or whatnot, they did pretty good there, and it's the same guy over in Sabo Beach. He's got a whole thing going on. So if you're there, check them out. And it was really fun. We had a good night.
Yeah, and you posted some stuff up on the Instagram there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so
Facebook.
we got some stuff there if people are ever interested in heading out there, and as the fan perspective coming into the track there is what we always want to do, and be able to help these tracks out. We want to make sure that these guys keep their lights on, and you know it's always a good weekend to head out of the track. That's for sure.
Yep.
So
Definitely be doing it again. Going to try to take them to
Yeah.
Sabo Beach as well.
oh,
at some point.
that'd be a little bit of a good trip out to
Yep.
maybe actually hit up the beach too, and
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Look
Look
at you. You should be like a trip advisor.
yeah, I love traveling, but hey, this past weekend
Yeah.
in the London Recreational 100, just over at was that Flamborough. So that was for one of the
That was for
part of
APC.
for APC, part of the one of the Crown Jewel races that they do. That was they had a good race there. Cool to see
Yeah,
Stackley.
former Pinty's champion.
Yeah,
J.R.
we
Fitzpatrick
can't
won
forget
the
to
race.
mention J.R. Fitzpatrick.
Can I just say I follow JR on the Soch. I don't know if that makes me cool or not. If I say it like that, it probably makes me look like an idiot. My wife would say so. I've been following JR on there, and I love that car. I love late models, and when guys get some cool schemes and cool color combos. I know it's just black and yellow, but with his number and stuff, I just really like it.
Yeah, and just also so we're going from London to, or sorry, we're going from Flamborough to just a weekend there, where they're finally able to get in their first weekend of racing after it was almost 1,000 days with their 360 sprints, crate sprints, and thunder stocks and mini stocks.
Yeah.
It's good to see them for one of their longest off seasons finally get some racing going. So I'm sure we'll have.
And
some
I'm really
more
glad that we
coverage of
didn't
them.
lose the track. That could have been a track that we lost through the pandemic. So I'm really happy that it's still there.
Well, even just
if you're
generally
going-
speaking, pandemic or not, just obviously with, you know, with Jukasa kind of going down, even though that
Yes.
was because they were, that was through an ownership kind of confusion, a little bit of a family deal involved as well. So it's a bit of a touchy situation with Jukasa and the selling of it to what is speculated as a pot farm. So it's good to support your local racetrack, which you got right now. Flamborough, Weekend for me,
And go
or
support it
Delaware.
this Friday because apparently
Kenny Schrader will be there.
Kenny Schrader's
Oh
gonna
man,
be there.
that's crazy.
I mean,
I gotta find.
I
a way.
know, right? I would totally, if I could go, I would be
Yeah.
there in a heartbeat.
Oh man, yeah. People check that
Yeah,
out.
him sling some
Head on-
mud.
head
That
on
would be
down.
awesome.
Head on down. Anyway,
Trucks.
I love my name's Michael Waltrip. I'm from Kentucky. I love these trucks. So
It's kind of convenient how that will end. We'll get back
these
to
trucks.
Michael Waltrip later on.
Corey Haim was able to.
I always think of the Heimlich. I don't know why. I hear that name and I just go.
He was able to get the caution flag with 3 laps to go on the truck race on Saturday, which was the first race for us for the weekend, and that it was a great race at Gateway. Heim was able to get the bottom lane.
Wide technology.
WWT,
Raceway
yeah,
at Gateway.
at Gateway. But for short, WWT, for those people out there. Heim was fortunate to get the bottom lane for the final green-white checkered restart, and he held off teammate Chandler Smith to start the 2-lap sprint around WWT. There we go. Then put some distance on Christian Eckes when a heavy wreck back behind in the pack ended the race with the leaders on the backstretch. So that was Heim's second career win after last season at Las Vegas. X was cruising up to a win when a caution flew with 3 laps to go, going into
He has
NASCAR
some
overtime.
bad luck.
Yeah, Christian
He's had
Eckes
some
racing hard
He's
throughout
had
that
some bad luck
race.
this year.
He spun his tires. He was just on that restart there. Was
Mhm.
able to get around Smith to finish second. So that's pretty good. Good on him to maybe hopefully change that momentum, get rid of that bad luck, change that around. And Chandler Smith finishing third. And that there was a good little preview for what a lot of the Cup drivers were watching, and I'm sure Dinger was watching. The different lines that they were racing, and obviously with them racing there before with the trucks, obviously helps. So there's a little bit of that to go off of. So
Right.
And that played off a lot. We'll get to that in the Cup a little bit. That also played a lot well off too. But it was
Top
a good.
5 were all Toyotas too, which is really impressive. Toyota very strong, really strong this year in the truck series. There's only been I think Zane Smith has been the lone manufacturer to break through
Right.
for a win. I don't think any other manufacturer. I don't think
Zane
Chevy's
Smith
won
was
this
forced
year.
to spend extra time in the pits, as well, on each stop to get gas in the car, because I think there's a problem with him refueling the truck to do a little bit of damage on his right rear. So
that's right.
Also, Stuart Friesen fourth, as well,
that was
after a lot of stuff going on during the race, and after the flag flew to the end of stage 2, Friesen and Hailie Deegan got down into the on the backstretch into the grass almost. Friesen,
what's going on with that?
Friesen and Deegan may have had a little bit of an issue, I guess. I don't know what the deal was necessarily. I didn't see anything during the race. You heard some stuff.
Oh, I just heard I listened to the race on MRN at the trailer, and I thought I heard them say, cannot confirm, that they got into each other under caution, or when the caution came out, and then I guess
gave Deegan a puncture, or sorry, it gave Friesen a punctured tire. Was it so much worth it? Out of that.
He finished fourth. I mean, I guess did he cost himself a win? He was pretty strong. He was pretty strong all race long. I feel like that's a track that that would kind of fit.
I don't know what happened to them under caution, if there was an accidental contact there or not, but I don't know if that was warranted. Whether we're frustrated at Hailie Deegan or not. But hey, Rajah Caruth, the talented 19-year-old ARCA Series points leader, he was given a chance to ride with Spire Motorsports in number 7.
Yeah,
and he was able to a great finish there, top 10 finish.
Finish Matt Crafton.
He did spin at some point with Taylor Gray and Ty Majeski, and that was good though. He was able to get that 10th place finish and take that on to maybe shop around for a ride next season. But hey, so
can I are you a little surprised that we didn't see maybe a few more Cup drivers running in the truck series to get a few more laps around the track, or do you think that would have just hindered their abilities because the car and the truck are so different?
Depends on the deals, probably sponsorship deals, or it probably came out to whatever. Obviously Cup drivers are limited a certain amount of truck races, so I'm sure it just came down to a scheduling thing. I wouldn't know.
I'm just surprised we didn't see
anymore.
somebody.
Yeah.
I'm just nobody jumped down. The only one that got the benefit would have been Zane Smith, because he ran for Buescher, which we'll get into, and performed really well over there.
But Saturday was a good day for racing. Busy day. It didn't stop there. Oh, quick mention. Hopefully Carson is okay. Forgot to mention about Carson. He had hurt his ankle. Hopefully he's gonna be all right. Quick mention before we get into IMSA. It was definitely a long day for him, I'm sure. But going over to Detroit, where Sebastian Bourdais and Reger van der Zande delivered the second big victory for Chip Ganassi this week.
Yeah, it was a big win, a monumental win for the team. Chip Ganassi, Renger van der Zande. I can never get that right. and Cadillac and Chevy, of course, winning right in Chevrolet's backyard. The track was fantastic, and it was a good race to say goodbye, because this is the last one. Well, for now, I know it just 2023 we're getting a new Detroit road course or street course. So yeah, this was a good way to say goodbye. I mean, Sebastian Bourdais drove put it on pole with a record-setting lap, never to be broken again, maybe, and ran a heck of a race, saving fuel to make that a one-stop race for them, which was really impressive, because I know the GTs were one stop. So the fact that he saved that much fuel, and he had a hard pressing Ollie Jarvis, who's a former Audi factory driver, Le Mans winner, bearing down on him, and they held out. And in second place, you had, or battling hard for third for the podium was Pipo Derani, and the other Cadillac, the 02, Chip Ganassi, making some contact. I kind of like, that's what I like about IMSA a little bit. Even you get these really fast cars like you would see in IndyCar, but they can make that door-to-door contact. They can rough each other up. A little NASCAR-y, that NASCAR, that pull in there with ownership. And we got to see a good battle on track between those drivers. Earl Bamber has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans for Porsche, and Pipo Derani's won championship in IMSA for the Whelen Cadillac car. So, two talented drivers racing really, really hard. So it was great to see that, and like I said, in Chevy's backyard, it's great to see Chip Ganassi having this boost, because it's leading them into what's going to be the new program for LMDH and Cadillac and Chevrolet. So, and then we didn't have the LMP2s, we didn't have the LMP3s, and we have the GTDs there. And the Lexus of Vassar Sullivan won. They put it on pole, led the whole race. Well, sorry, let me take that back. Didn't lead the whole race. The Canadian, the young Canadian of Roman DeAngelis, got the lead off the beginning, leading 24 laps, and then they pitted, and the Lexus kept going, and then they just leapfrogged them on warm tires, and went on to win. So we had the Lexus out front, winning in GTD for Vassar Sullivan, there of Kyle Kirkwood, and Kirkwood was pulling double duty. He was racing in this and in IndyCar, and Ben Barnicoat. Yeah, the Aston Martin and BMW GT3 coming in third there for wow, I can't believe Paul Miller. They used to run Lamborghinis, but so that was a great race. It was a good way to say goodbye to the track, or see you later. I don't know if I'll ever go back to that track.
Wow, but they'll be downtown in as soon as next year.
Yeah. So, anyways, it was a good. While I was watching this, or leading up to this, was they were heading back out, or going out west for rainy, soggy Portland.
Yeah. As a racing and rain fan, that was big time awesome for me to watch that, and I'm sure for a lot of other fans out there. Because no doubt in Portland, the fans showed up. The I'm sure they're already used to watching sports in such weather, and maybe some not, some new to that stuff too. So yeah, it was mostly the beginning of the race. It was pretty wet. They NASCAR determined that they'll be doing a wet start, and that was yeah, it didn't stop the racing from being anything interesting at all. And
Well, and we had cars off before we even got green flag.
Yeah.
The dinger.
Yeah, AJ
Right? He was in the
Allmendinger
pits before he didn't even.
got
I don't
off
know
in
what
the
happened.
grass
He
and got
must
a
have
little
just
damage in
aquaplaned
his
off.
bumper. Yeah,
Full of grass. Apparently he applied to be a groundskeeper at Portland International Raceway.
he came from last, and he in the number 16 colleague Racing Chevrolet led only 6 of the 75 laps,
Yeah, no.
and he was able to get
In last place. He was in last place on the first lap, and he was in first place on the last lap. That's talent.
Yeah, and he had a hard race. He had a lot of setbacks. It was hard. He had a couple of rough patches during that race, but he was able to ultimately excel. And at the end of the day, he's he's no doubt one of the best out of road course racers. 8 out of 12 wins. We all know he's great at the road courses, but and we'll get into this in our next bit. We'll get into it in a couple bits here when we get to Gateway, because he had a race on Sunday too in the Cup Series. So crazy run for him. Within just even nearly going down a lap at one point to just hard run from AJ. But that there was so much other stuff that happened during the race that happened too. It was just a wild, crazy filled race, and a lot of it had to do with the downpour and the heavy mist. The opening stages were got drivers racing on wet tires, and there some guys like Noah Gragson, he didn't care. He was racing hard. And then there was obviously some other drivers too that were probably taking it easy, that had no idea what they were doing. Guys that aren't so good at making some spots and making some lines. Not to say that they're not good drivers, but Gragson though was definitely the other mention during that race at Portland. He and Allmendinger started from the rear and made up 20 plus positions to get up into the top 5. And Ty Gibbs was running up at the front. Ty Gibbs was having a great run. He and the Gragson had contact as well at some point. Then with Sheldon Creed, causing Creed and Gibbs to spin off course. Creed was able to get back. Gibbs was able to try to do what he could do. It was just craziness all around. I think for the inaugural race, for one of the inaugural races, that was tops. And that was the day before Gateway. So Xfinity race, Xfinity at Portland, definitely think they should return, and the fans, I'm sure they would say the same thing too, no doubt.
Yeah, the race was really good. It was interesting. There's moments in there that are embarrassing, I think, for the series. Mainly people running into people under caution, not knowing when they're supposed to pass other drivers. But They're the big. We're not going to talk about the negatives. There's some big notables in that race for me. Number one would be Andy Lally in the number 44. Andy is a longtime sports car racer. He's raced in Cup, in Xfinity, and Truck, all the way across. I mean, we've definitely heard his name once or twice. He's kind of sometimes been labeled as a road course ringer, and he was really doing really well here, and even got to the lead. And then under caution, they had some melee down into turn one, unsurprisingly, and he kind of got taken out there. Other notables too with him are Landon Castle. He was looking really strong too. He got caught up in that mess uh, in turn one. You know, Anthony Alfredo, first career pole. That's a big one. I wouldn't have guessed it would have been on a road course. So that was really really good. And of course, we can't forget to mention uh, Pinty's
Yeah.
alum, current driver Alex Labay finishing in 10th.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic drive for him. Really good, really really good.
So if people haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a good watch. Total worth it. And if you're out west, make sure you're getting tickets for next season. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So going back to Belle Isle here, and
Yes.
with some redemption in store from last season when Will Power was they had to bring it down pit road during the
Belle
race.
named him the Renaissance Man, and I would really agree.
Yeah, well, so last season they ran the cars on that pit road. They had to stop. He wasn't able to get his car going. He lost so many
Red flag.
spots.
Yeah.
He had the win, but he lost it. So it was redemption for sure for this last race in the IndyCar series at Belle Isle.
And that led to Marcus Ericsson's first win in the IndyCar series, right?
Last season, yeah.
Last week's
Or sorry,
Indy 500
yeah,
champion.
that's right, yeah, last week, yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah, that was great for Will and that team. I was
How about
really
all
happy
the
for
tires?
them.
How about all the tire strategies?
IndyCar is really crazy right now with
Reds and
their
blacks and
strategies and reds and blacks, and
whatever
sometimes you
else.
really want to be on the reds and you want to be on the black, depending on the track. And a track like Belle Isle is incredibly abrasive on tires and hard on tires, and I believe it's pretty warm there. And they were facing some weather, so they're facing all sorts of things. And yeah, the tires played a big role for them. You saw it with the marbling. That was a big one. The red tires were really degrading, creating massive marbles offline, and you could see it building up quickly, leading to some guys locking up their brakes. But what I've noticed really in the recent paying attentions, that doesn't make sense, but of watching IndyCar, is noticing how quickly the strategy can formulate. And we're talking, within 10 laps, 15 maybe, of a 70 lap race, you're setting yourself up real quickly to, for a two stopper, a three stopper. And this is the kind of car, and you've heard it. I hear it more in sports car racing. You know, you can't wait till there's 10 minutes to go in a race and say you need to save me 10 minutes worth of fuel. Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah,
You have to start saving that amount of fuel way at the beginning. And if you're going to try to run those type of strategies and then run those because now you're running longer because you're saving fuel. Now you need to make those tires run longer and degrade less quickly, so you can't run as hard. You're losing lap times. And later on in the race, you saw, you know Alexander Rossi devour increments of time out of Will Power's lead. And
Rossi on the black tires for his final stint, and then Power
he was
drove
pushing.
the Reds on the last 20.
I know, and like I said, talking about these pit stops and these stints, out of the top 10, 2 cars made 3 stops. The rest made 2. And 10th, Felix Rosenquist was 3, and Alexander Rossi, who finished second, was 3. So Alexander was just, man. It's almost like if he, I don't know, if he didn't run the 2-3 stop, he might not have been able to get there. But he's maybe he was motivated by his new team announcement of switching to, this is a mouthful, Errol McLaren Schmidt Peterson next year from Andretti. He's been at Andretti his entire career, won the Indy 500 with Andretti, but I would say he's been real stale there. But this is a great drive by him. A great recovery drive by Scott Dixon, finishing in third from just last week or at Indy, and just what had happened there. So it's great to see him there. Any other big? How'd your boy do? Jimmy didn't do good.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't actually hear it all. I don't even think I heard them. I didn't hear anything from
finished
Jimmy.
2 laps down in 22nd place. Yeah, you know what? I've it's funny because I heard a little bit more about Jimmy, and he's been saying that he's been heard saying or whatever that he's willing to put in the time for this. So he's talking like 5 years.
Wow.
So, if last year was a real learning year and this year is another learning year because he's throwing in the ovals, and if they're serious and they're seriously going to go 5 years for this, then I can't wait to see year 3, year 4, and year 5, because he's gonna get better. It this whole IndyCar thing, I think, fits Jimmy now, right? They run like 18 races a year.
Yeah.
You get to go to some nice tracks. You get to go, like, who doesn't want to go to Long Beach?
Yeah.
Like NASCAR. No offense. NASCAR went to Gateway. Wow. I think Long Beach or St. Petersburg or Laguna Seca, or I shouldn't say that because the IndyCar goes to Gateway, but it's just cool. I think it really fits them.
In 4th place, I just lost my note on that. Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah, he led a lot of this race, and I think he just didn't have it.
Yeah, and Team Penske, Chip Ganassi Racing, good race between them. Between
you kind of really
teams.
Seeing the guys who are separating to the top,
right? But yeah, and it's neat with Penske Corp putting together that downtown road course for next year, and I'm sure there'll be more to come in the months to come with how the layout will be for that track. But it's obviously easy to say. Will Power is going to be guided to take it over onto that new downtown course. So we'll see them carry over the tradition from Belle to downtown for next season, and for the next series event on Sunday, June 11th, they go to Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So we'll watch that on Sunday at 12:30 on NBC, Peacock, or IndyCar Radio Network. Can't wait to watch that. And then we're gonna finally go into the wrap up of the whole weekend, I suppose you could say, the Cup Series at Gateway. Always refreshing to see NASCAR go to a new track. Like, that whole weekend was good for something new. We saw it with Portland, the Xfinity. We saw it with Cup. It's something not so new. because there has been other series that have raced at both those tracks in the past over its history, but something a little used, something a little new. So that was real cool to see. All the fans just packed, and I don't really like to talk much about attendance, but it was just so cool to see all the fans packed, coming out in droves to Gateway, and it was just crazy to see all these fans wanting to see some cut racing.
Well, that's what happens when you go to somewhere different,
right?
and it's somewhere where you haven't ever been. What's the closest cup track to that area? Chicagoland?
Yeah, well, and that's what's interesting because the race sponsor was like literally it was go to Illinois.
Right. Well,
was
isn't it on the Illinois side of the river, or is it in? I'm just.
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
question.
I'm pretty sure I heard them say on the broadcast it's on the Illinois side of the river.
It's in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. Huh.
Nailed it.
Interesting. So that's why it was go to Illinois.
Come to Illinois.
Interesting.
But they always talk about the Gateway, right? The Arch, the St. Louis Arch.
That's interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah. But drivers say Gateway is like 5 different tracks in one. We heard them, we heard Richmond, Darlington, New Hampshire, Martinsville, Phoenix. Just some of the tracks to name a few. Usually tracks that give fans and drivers vibes that turn out to be great racing. Those are all fan favorite tracks. I wouldn't say New Hampshire, but those are all fan favorite tracks for me at least. But yeah, so
fun to race on. We like racing on that track.
And we saw that with multiple lines and drivers taking notes from the truck race. A lot of experimentation with different grooves, and it can open up. You can open up the car in the straights to 160 down to about 99 in the turns. Both turns aren't the same radius as well, so that kind of brought downshifting into the factor, which we see
it's kind of egg shaped. Right?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that shape.
You know what? It reminds me of Motegi, twin ring Motegi. Just not as
right.
Not as,
sure,
not
yeah.
As big. I think
that's another good comparison. Yeah, but much, yeah. With Chase Briscoe with pole position alongside Austin Cindric, his Ford teammate, both racers that had experience at Gateway in the past in the trucks. So Chase dominated the opening laps of the race with 17 to go. However, in stage 1, the number 14 had a left rear go down, which was something that we were going to see a lot during the day of some tire issues coming to play.
Mm-hmm. With the Fords too.
Yeah. He was able to hobble back though. He lost a couple laps to Cindric. Stage 1 kind of went by quickly. There was no cautions. At that, it was kind of nicely paced out. The quality of racing made it seem like it was going to go by fast, and for fans, it was real fun watching the racers figure out the track and figure out the different lines. Maybe, like as I said, some of them haven't raced there in a while, or some of them haven't raced there at all. So it's interesting to see that.
It's interesting to see the shifting. Although I'm not surprised about it, when IndyCar races there, they shift. I know they're different, but I understand. I heard a couple of the drivers talk about when they were shifting at Martinsville, and it seemed. I think it was Denny was saying it seemed that when you overdrove the corner, you could just downshift and get yourself out of trouble. But it seemed here that downshifting was a necessity, especially as the tires wore out. I don't know. I don't know how much tires were like a big thing here, but it just seemed they wore out on longer runs, and the guys just kind of needed that room. They arced the corners more, they moved the groove up, and just was more getting more center roll. But
Austin Cindric got the stage 1 win.
He did.
And he was gaining a lot of time on the field, and on the restart there, lots of aggressive moves. Hendrick cars were in need of adjustments. In the caution, the Hendrick cars were in need of adjustments. HMS needed to make gains on that restart, so that it was aggressive. There's aggressive moves there, and a lot of it between Penske and Gibbs. I feel like the Penske and Gibbs were the show of the field, so not much from Hendrick.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, they
can't be good everywhere.
Yeah, there's
they gotta be bad somewhere.
It's kind of been a trend where there's tracks like that where, a lot of the new tracks over the years, with exception with Chase at Coda, I believe.
Well, it's funny because the Xfinity race was the top 6 were all Chevys.
Right. And the first caution was on lap 18 of stage 2. Ross and Hamlin had a scuffle. This was another thing we're going to hear a lot of during the day of Ross Chastain. And we'll get to your 2 cents on this before we wrap up this our NASCAR talk.
I got nothing. I'm okay with it.
Oh, no. Ross sent, it looked like he sent Denny into the wall and to giving him a broken toe link. Ultimately, Denny was not happy about that during the race. He was able to show us his pleasure a couple times, but this caution gave drivers a chance to debrief again on their handling to their teams. And I was listening to radio, drivers communicating just about every vibration, and also communicating different racing lines and whatnot, and starting to hear some strategy come into play. It tamed out a bit until the one again in 11. There were some games to be played between them. Eventually, the one caught up to the 11, and 11 was not happy and was kind of weaving around the track. NASCAR said enough of that. So it was not enough of that, though.
Do you remember what Denny's reply was?
I remember hearing it. He was like, he was like, it was more like a whatever or something like that. I forget exactly what he said, but he was like a she laugh. He was like, yeah, right, or something like that. But it was around the same time the 12 lost the left rear at lap 48 of 95 in stage 2.
Real contender too, because he finished second.
Yeah, too bad. Yeah. Blaney had a great run in the beginning part of the race.
The Penske's were fast, as we're gonna find out later on. So he could have been. He was not a real contender, I think.
It was not long after on the restart, Chase Elliott cut off Chastain in 3 and 4, bringing out the yellow on lap 55 of 95, and it was kind of a melee coming out of turn 4. On the front stretch. Somehow all the cars made it through unscathed, though. It looked like Dillon and it was Dillon and Chase. It looked like they kind of cut off. It looked more like Chase cut off Chastain, but and all the cars made it through. Yeah, all the cars made it through unscathed, though, which is cool to see. And Ross was no doubt starting to, on social media and throughout the actual press at track and on the broadcast, it was starting to come up. He was starting to kind of ruffle some feathers, and also some other races too where he's shown some aggressive moves. You made a good point, though. I mean, this is the top tier series, and this is where you got to make your moves. So there's moves to be made there, and it looked a lot like that was going to be wrapped up there until after the race when Chastain said, "Hey, that was on me and my bad." But yeah, so in stage 2, Kurt Busch won. That was cool to see for him to be able to get a stage win in there. He was able to. Bubba had a little bit of an incident earlier on with the 47, and Denny showed his displeasure. So it was good to see Kurt come through for his 2311 teammate. Stage 3 though was looking like all MTJ. He had KFB and Belle behind him as JJR teammates. And it was looking like it was going to come down to green flag pit stops. It didn't. Yellows.
I thought it was a Toyota race.
At this point, yellows were starting to breed each other. Cautions were breeding cautions. We saw lots of different wrecks come on in throughout that third stage. And in the closing laps, we saw a battle between Logano and Kyle. Possibly the closest racing this season in the final laps. These guys were almost bumper to bumper. It was edge of the seat for me. I was like, come on.
Yeah,
it was crazy. But the party was spoiled when Harvick lost handling in 3 and smacked the wall hard, and in NASCAR Overtime #1. It was down to Joey and Kyle once
You
again.
could see how hard Kevin hit. Like
It was hard.
he took
Yeah,
a while to
and
get
it
it.
sucked because Harvick had a good race last week, and we were hoping to see him
I know.
gain some momentum on that. But it was all down to Joey and Kyle at the end, and Blaney and Kurt also caught up in the mix too. There, with Joey and Kyle racing so hard, Blaney and Kurt caught up, but there was some fidgeting going around, and eventually someone had to give, and they were all bunched up, and Joey was able to take the lead there, and white flag was thrown, and not much for Joey to compete with as he was well ahead getting the checkers there, and Joey Logano winning the inaugural Cup race at Gateway, which was
he's an inaugural winning.
Yeah, he's
guy.
good at the inaugural races, winning at new tracks. So he's definitely a guy I wish I put into my fantasy picks when I failed to actually make my picks, which is why I finished 6th this week, which is why I'm going down in the overall rankings. But for those that picked Joey, because he's good at that, and in the future you're going to want to pick Joey at tracks they haven't raced at before, that's for sure. We'll take a look at our Wide World of Motorsports NASCAR Fantasy League standings here. We're already in week 15, and it was real good for Dirty Joe coming up from the bottom from a real slow start of the season. He's doing Dirty Joe. He's doing real good. He's now second in overall standings. Ty Parker as well. He's another guy that came from the bottom. These guys that came in late. Yeah. There was a real chance for those guys that came in late at the beginning of the season to come in and make a real difference. So that moved Ty Parker up to 3rd in overall league standings. You've had some consistency, some good top 3 finishes. You were 3rd at Gateway, and that keeps you up top in the overall league standings. And then we kind of start to simmer out there. We have Seth. He's sustained there in 4th overall league and in Gateway this week. And at the bottom, it's Pepe, myself, and Wounded Duck Motorsports, aka the Eggman. So
we need you back, Eggman.
Yeah, a couple of us, we got to get back into making those picks. There's still a lot of racing left. There's still a lot of bad weeks for other guys, so we got to get our guys back in it that aren't in it, like me and Eggman there and Pepe. We got to get back in it. But hey, all of you who are listening out there, would love for you guys to join us, and we'll make some picks for the remaining weeks left. There's a lot of weeks left, like I said. We're just in week 15 out of 36. So I wish I was able to make my picks for next week at Sonoma.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That'll be a hard one. Real excited for
Sonoma.
We're going back old school. The Save Mart 200 or whatever it used to be, but we're going back to the original Cup layout that we would remember.
Well, the original layout was what they tried out, and then now they're going back to the original short layout.
Short layout.
Yeah,
yes, that's right. With the
I love
that.
That
I
was
always
better.
love that they come down and they'd haul over that curb and they'd fly out, and you'd always think they're gonna plow into
it was just better
tire
there.
barrier.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
It was better. It was cool. They tried it and then they brought it back to that.
Do you remember when they pitted the guys on the island there?
Yeah, Gilligan. Yeah, there was a Gilligan's Island. People were
because there was not enough spots, and if you were pitted out there, you were stuck there. Sucked.
Yeah.
You were stuck there.
Yeah. They had. I heard lots of stories about that. But apparently, there's years where there wasn't a porta-john out there. Usually they would have a porta-john out there, but I'm sure there's tons of podcasts you guys can listen to on there about that. But anyway, what do you pick for next week? I'm sure there's going to be. I wish we were able to find an entry list here.
Kaibu.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think he's pushing hard, and I think he's won there. He's good there. He's won on that layout before. He's just good there. I'd say that's one of his best tracks.
there is no entry list available yet. So we can just kind of go off of what we know. Yeah, Dinger's gonna be. We heard a lot of. Well, he ended up finishing. Didn't he get 10th at Gateway? So
who?
Dinger,
yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean,
win in the top 10.
Yeah, so I mean, going off of that momentum, I'm picking AJ Allmendinger for Sonoma. I mean, this guy's got momentum in his pocket, and we know he's Dinger the Ringer, and I can guarantee he'll get a win at some point this season in the Cup at a road course, and this has got to be the time to do it. I'll pick him for the win.
He'll do it at Watkins Glen. He'll do it at the Glen.
You think so? Yeah.
If he's racing there, I don't even know if he's
I just found out I used up
he
Chase, so I got to put Chase on the back burner. I only got 3 stars with him left, and Ross with 4. Kaibu, I got some uses left on him, but yeah, there's going to be some other drivers that I got to start looking into throw in there. I'm going to obviously pick Blaney, Briscoe, probably. Guys that I know that are good at road courses. Belle,
I used one on Parker Kligerman, like his.
Sure, yeah, there's going to be a couple of ringers I'm going to want to throw in there. I'm sure Boris said will show up or something like that, or
tired, bud.
Really?
Done. Yeah, he just did a race, and I think he wants to do one more with his
right.
I think he's retired from doing the Cup stuff.
Right, but hey, you know what? We'll have that next week on the show. We'll make sure you follow us on social media at the WWOMS.
We'll be talking some show de air.
Oh yeah, show de air. Can't wait to talk about that and all the other racing that is on the way, and we'll have it on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at the WWOMS. And also on our website, the Wide World of Motorsports podcast.wordpress.com. And
that's changing.
Yeah, let's change that. Send us an email, wideworldofmotorsports@gmail.com. And and also 1 p.m. on the out east in St. John on CFMH 107.3 local FM on your smart device on the PMN app. And on CKMS 102.7 Radio Waterloo monthly on the Waterloo Region Podcast Hour. So real excited to, real happy to be part of those guys, and also check out our future past episodes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and hey, if there's anything, and Anchor, Anchor. If there's anything else we mentioned, I don't know, Wallace. Sorry if we forgot to mention anything, but hey, you know what?
We have so much time.
Yeah, we only have so much time, folks. That's why we always have other episodes. That's why we'll have. That's why we'll have episode 16 coming down the pipes in the future. But hey, you know what? I think that about wraps it up for this edition, Wallace. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
All right.
I like it. It was fun. Adios.
All right, folks. We'll see you around the bend.